What if I told you that floating in the silent, unforgiving blackness of space, there is an object so perfect, so statistically impossible, that it seems to defy the very laws of the universe? An object that looks less like a chaotic accident of gravity and more like the deliberate creation of a cosmic artist. It's a riddle wrapped in a mystery, encircled by a perfect ring of impossible blue. And for over 70 years, it has stared back at us, offering no answers, only deeper and more profound questions. Today, we journey 600 million light-years from home to confront a celestial masterpiece that shouldn't exist. We are going to explore the silent, beautiful, and utterly baffling enigma known as Hoag's object. Our story begins not with a grand announcement, but with a quiet moment of confusion in 1950. Imagine the scene. American astronomer Arthur Hoag is peering through the telescope at the Palomar Observatory. A solitary figure under the vast, star-dusted canopy of the night sky. He's meticulously cataloging the heavens, when suddenly, he stops. He's found something odd. On the photographic plate is a smudge of light unlike anything he's ever seen. It looks like a perfect, luminous smoke ring. A celestial Cheerio floating in the cosmic ocean. At its very center sits a distinct golden-yellow ball of light. His first thought? It must be a planetary nebula. These are the beautiful, glowing shells of gas cast off by dying stars. They can be round, and they often have a central star. It's a logical first guess. But the more Hoag looked, the more the numbers didn't add up. This object was immense, far too large to be the ghost of a single star. And the core. It didn't look like a single star at all. It looked like a galaxy in its own right, a compact, ancient city of stars. The two components, the ring and the core, seemed to be at the same distance, gravitationally bound, a single, bizarre system. Think about the technology of the 1950s. We were still decades away from the Hubble Space Telescope. From digital imaging, from the sophisticated spectrographs that can decode the secrets hidden in starlight. Arthur Hoag was armed with little more than glass plates, mathematical calculations, and his own sharp intuition. He knew he was looking at something strange, something that didn't fit the neat categories of galactic morphology. In his published paper, he conceded that it might just be an optical illusion, a strange trick of light. But he also put forward the radical idea that it was a truly new and unique type of galaxy. Unable to probe its secrets any further, he did what any good scientist does. He cataloged it, gave it a name, and left it for future generations to solve. He had no idea that he had just opened the door to one of the most enduring and beautiful mysteries in modern astronomy, a puzzle that, even today, with all our technological might, we cannot solve. Let's talk about that ring. When we think of galaxies, we often picture the majestic, swirling arms of a spiral like our own Milky Way, or the chaotic, beautiful mess of an irregular galaxy. These shapes are the natural result of gravity, a force that is powerful but rarely tidy. The universe tends towards chaos, towards uneven clumps and messy distributions. But the outer ring of Hoag's object is an affront to that chaos. It is a spectacle of impossible perfection. Imagine drawing a circle with a compass. Now imagine that circle is 120,000 light-years across, wider than our entire Milky Way galaxy, and drawn not with ink, but with billions of brilliant, young, blue stars. The ring is almost perfectly circular. Its brightness is unnervingly uniform all the way around. There are no thick spots, no thin spots, no breaks in the loop. It is a pristine, unbroken halo of light. This level of order, on this kind of scale, is something that galaxies simply shouldn't be able to make, let alone maintain, for millions of years. Most other ring galaxies we know of are the messy aftermath of cosmic violence. They are typically formed when a smaller galaxy punches directly through the disk of a larger one, like a cosmic bullet hole. The collision sends out a gravitational ripple, a shock wave that expands outwards, compressing gas and triggering a wave of star formation, creating a temporary, chaotic ring. These collisional rings, like the famous Cartwheel Galaxy, are scarred. They are warped, asymmetric, and surrounded by the telltale debris of the crash. Tidal tails of stars flung out into space, and often you can even see the culprit galaxy. The bullet speeding away from the scene of the crime. Hoag's object shows no such scars. It is the perfect crime scene with no evidence of a struggle. The space around it is clean. There are no tidal tails, no scattered debris, no lingering culprit. Its symmetry is flawless. It's as if it was simply willed into existence, a perfect circle of youthful fire in the cold, dark void. This perfection forces us to ask a profound question. If not violence, what kind of gentle cosmic process could sculpt such a delicate and flawless structure? Now, let's journey from that brilliant blue ring inward, across a vast chasm of emptiness, to the heart of the riddle, the golden core. If the ring is a vibrant metropolis of youthful energy, the core is an ancient, silent temple. It appears as a self-contained elliptical galaxy, a smooth golden sphere made up of billions of much older, yellow and red stars. Spectroscopic analysis, which allows us to read the chemical and physical history written in starlight, tells us that the core is ancient, perhaps 10 billion years old, or more. Its stars are well into their twilight years, having burned through their fuel for eons. And here, the paradox deepens. The stars in the outer ring are the complete opposite. They are massive, hot, brilliant blue stars, the rock stars of the cosmos. Blue stars burn incredibly hot and fast, meaning they live very short lives, some lasting only a few million years. Their presence tells us that the ring is a site of recent and ongoing star birth. So you have a galaxy with two distinct timelines existing simultaneously. An ancient, dormant core surrounded by a blazing ring of stellar infants. The age gap between the two is staggering billions of years. It's like finding a brand new, functioning smartphone inside a perfectly sealed, ancient Egyptian tomb. The two things don't belong in the same story, yet here they are. This chronological disconnect is a fundamental problem. If a cataclysmic event, like a galaxy collision, happened recently enough to form the young blue ring, it should have absolutely brutalized the core. The core should be disturbed, its stars scattered, its smooth shape disrupted. But it remains flawlessly smooth, pristine, and seemingly untouched by whatever event gave birth to its youthful companion. It's as if the core was a silent, unmovable witness to a spectacular creation event that happened right on its doorstep. Yet it bears no memory of the occasion. It's a tale of two timelines, impossibly bound together, with no known history to connect them. Perhaps the most unsettling feature of Hoag's object isn't what's there, but what isn't. Separating the ancient golden core from the youthful blue ring is a vast, dark, and profoundly empty void. This isn't just a dim region. It's a chasm of apparent nothingness, spanning tens of thousands of light years. To put that into perspective, the distance from our Sun to the center of the Milky Way is about 27,000 light years. This gap is a truly immense gulf of darkness. In most galaxies, even those with distinct components, there are connecting structures. You find bridges of gas and dust, scattered populations of stars, faint stellar streams that connect the inner and outer regions. These are the threads that tie a galaxy together, showing its history of interaction and evolution. Hoag's object has none of these. The gap is eerily clean. Infrared observations, which can see through dust that might obscure our view, have confirmed it. The gap is truly empty. It's as if an invisible force field has been erected between the core and the ring. A cosmic moat that maintains a stark and unnatural separation. This profound emptiness poses a huge problem for formation theories. How do you get material to form a giant ring of stars on the outside without leaving any mess or any connecting material in between? If gas flowed in from the outside to form the ring, why did it skip this region entirely? If a collision pushed material outwards, why is the space between so perfectly swept clean? This void gives the object its iconic bullseye appearance, but it's also a source of deep philosophical unease. In our own lives, we understand things through connection, through the gray areas that link black and white. This galaxy presents us with two extremes: the ancient core and the young ring, with absolutely nothing in between. It is a visual representation of a logical disconnect, a puzzle piece that is missing not just a few connecting tabs, but its entire middle section. It forces us to wonder, what invisible force or long-forgotten event could be responsible for sculpting not just the structures we see, but also the profound emptiness that defines them? So, how did this impossible object form? Astronomers are, at their core, detectives. They see a cosmic crime scene and they round up the usual suspects. But in the case of Hoag's object, every single suspect has a rock-solid alibi. Suspect number 1. The galactic collision. As we've discussed, this is the leading theory for most ring galaxies. But Hoag's object is the exception that breaks the rule. There's no debris. The ring is too perfectly circular. And its profound isolation is the final nail in the coffin for this theory. The galaxy sits in a remarkably empty patch of the universe, a cosmic isolation chamber. While this solitude helps explain how its delicate structure has survived for so long without being torn apart by the gravity of neighbors, it also deepens the mystery. If there have been no other major galaxies nearby for billions of years, who was the dance partner for this supposed collision? There's no culprit to be found. Suspect number 2. The resonance ring. This is a more elegant, gentler theory. In some galaxies, especially those with a strong central bar-like structure, gravitational tugs can organize stars and gas into stable orbits, creating a resonance ring. It's a bit like how a musician can find a frequency that makes a guitar string vibrate strongly. A rotating central bar can act as a gravitational driver, creating a resonance that shepherds material into a perfect ring. The problem: Hoag's object has no bar. Its core is a smooth, featureless, non-rotating sphere. It has no spiral arms, no bar, no internal structure that could possibly drive such a resonance. It's like hearing a perfectly sustained musical note with no instrument in sight. The theory only works if you invent a ghost perturbara bar that existed billions of years ago and has since vanished, or an external dwarf galaxy that did a flyby and disappeared without a trace. These are highly speculative ideas, bordering on scientific fantasy. Suspect number 3. The optical illusion. Early on, some wondered if it was a trick of light, a phenomenon called an Einstein ring. This occurs when a massive foreground object, like a galaxy, warps space-time, bending the light of a more distant object directly behind it into a ring. It's one of the most beautiful predictions of Einstein's theory of general relativity. If the core of Hoag's object were in the foreground and a different galaxy were far behind it, this could create the illusion of a ring. But this theory was quickly and decisively debunked. Spectroscopic measurements of the light from both the core and the ring show they have the same redshift. In astronomy, redshift tells us how fast an object is moving away from us, due to the expansion of the universe, which in turn tells us its distance. The core and the ring are at the same distance, about 600 million light-years away. They are undeniably part of the same system. This is no illusion. Every conventional tool in the galactic formation toolkit fails. The galaxy defies every known model we have. It is a ghost in the cosmological machine, an object that, by all rights, we shouldn't be seeing. As if the galaxy wasn't bizarre enough on its own, the universe decided to add a touch of the surreal. When the Hubble Space Telescope took its famous game-changing high-resolution image in 2002, it revealed an astonishing coincidence. There, perfectly framed within the dark, empty gap between the core and the ring, is another, much smaller, much more distant ring galaxy. Let that sink in. Ring galaxies are already incredibly rare, estimated to be only about 0.1% of all known galaxies. The odds of finding one are slim. The odds of finding two of them, perfectly aligned along our line of sight, creating a cosmic bullseye, are statistically staggering. It's like throwing a dart from Earth and having it land on a specific square inch of a dartboard on the moon, and then discovering that someone else had already thrown a smaller dart that landed in the exact same spot. This background galaxy is billions of light-years farther away than Hoag's object. It has nothing to do with it physically. It is a complete and utter coincidence. But its presence adds a layer of surreal, almost whimsical improbability to an already baffling object. It's a cosmic photobomb that seems to wink at us from across the universe, a little joke that reminds us just how vast, strange, and full of surprises the cosmos truly is. This celebrated image not only provided the crucial data that deepened the scientific puzzle, but it also captured the public's imagination, turning this celestial curiosity into an icon of cosmic mystery, a symbol of the universe's beautiful and inexplicable nature. To try and solve this riddle, astronomers have looked beyond what is visible to the naked eye, probing the object in different wavelengths of light and analyzing the subtle motions of its stars. But every new piece of data seems to add another layer of weirdness. The gas halo mystery. Beyond the visible light lies a vast, invisible halo of neutral hydrogen gas that envelops the entire galaxy. Such halos are common, acting as reservoirs of fuel for future star formation. But the halo around Hoag's object is unnervingly calm and smooth. In galaxies that are actively forming stars, you expect to see turbulent inflows and outflows of gas, clumps of gas falling into the galaxy to fuel the fire, and winds from massive stars pushing gas back out. This halo shows none of that. It's placid, undisturbed. This presents a conundrum. If this serene gas envelope isn't actively feeding the ring, where is the fuel for its brilliant young stars coming from? It's a starburst without a visible fuel line. The metallicity puzzle. The chemical composition of the stars tells a conflicting story. In astronomy, any element heavier than hydrogen and helium is called a metal. The stars in the outer ring are surprisingly low in these metals. This suggests they formed from relatively pristine gas that originated from outside the galaxy, rather than being recycled from previous generations of stars within the galaxy. This supports the idea that the material for the ring was accreted, perhaps from a passing gas cloud or a small metal-poor dwarf galaxy. But the accretion event that could deliver this gas without disturbing the core, without leaving any debris, and forming such a perfect ring, defies all our computer simulations. Our models show that such an event should be a messy, chaotic affair. No computer model has ever successfully replicated the pristine structure of Hoag's object. It consistently defies our best attempts to reverse engineer its history. The core's rotation secret. This is one of the most crucial clues. Spectroscopic measurements reveal that the two components are dynamically detached. While the outer ring is spinning rapidly, like a cosmic carousel, the ancient golden core is barely rotating at all. It is essentially a stationary sphere of ancient stars. This stark difference in motion is incredibly telling. It strongly suggests that the core and the ring have separate origins and have never fully integrated. It's not one unified, evolving system. It's more like two distinct systems, one still, one young, one old, locked in a bizarre, stable embrace, orbiting a common center of gravity, but living entirely separate lives. The dark matter problem. Dark matter is the invisible scaffolding that holds galaxies together. Its gravity dictates how stars should orbit. But in Hoag's object, the clues are contradictory. The perfectly circular, stable orbits of the ring's stars suggest the presence of a very massive, very smooth dark matter halo, holding everything in its gravitational grip. Yet, when astronomers measure the speeds of the stars, they find subtle wobbles and discrepancies. The total mass needed to explain the galaxy's stability doesn't neatly match the mass we see in stars and gas. Combined with a standard dark matter halo, the galaxy seems to exist in a strange middle ground, hinting that its dark matter is distributed in a highly unusual way, or that our fundamental understanding of it is incomplete. After decades of running into brick walls, of theories failing and data deepening the mystery, a compelling and rather romantic possibility has emerged. What if Hoag's object is not the result of a recent, violent event, but is instead a perfectly preserved fossil from the very early universe? In this scenario, the galaxy formed its unique structure billions of years ago, during a bygone era of galaxy formation, when the universe was a very different place. Perhaps the conditions, then the density of gas, the nature of dark matter halos, were more conducive to forming such orderly structures. Having formed in this unique way, it has spent the rest of cosmic history in its isolated corner of the universe, remaining largely untouched and undisturbed. If this is true, Hoag's object is an invaluable time capsule. It would be a glimpse into a chapter of cosmic evolution that has long since been erased everywhere else by the constant churning, colliding, and merging of galaxies. It would mean that the reason we can't explain it with our current models is because our models are based on how galaxies form and evolve now. We may be trying to solve the puzzle with the wrong set of rules. This theory elevates the object from a mere curiosity to a scientific treasure of immense importance. It would be a living relic, a silent messenger from a lost epoch. But this theory, too, is difficult to prove. It explains the object's pristine nature and isolation, but it doesn't explain the mechanism of its original formation, shifting the mystery from how did this happen recently to how could this have ever happened at all. So, after more than 70 years of study, why does Hoag's object still have no consensus explanation? Because no single theory can account for all of its bizarre properties simultaneously. A theory that explains the young ring fails to explain the undisturbed core. A theory that explains the perfect shape fails to explain the lack of a driver. A theory that explains its pristine nature fails to explain its ongoing star formation. It is a statistical anomaly of astronomical proportions. The odds of a single galaxy randomly developing this perfect symmetry, this age paradox, this empty gap, this pristine condition, and this profound isolation are so vanishingly small that it challenges our very understanding of what is possible. And maybe, just maybe, that is the most important lesson Hoag's object has to teach us. In our daily lives, we are driven by a need for answers, for neat explanations, for putting things into comfortable boxes. We crave certainty and dislike ambiguity. But this silent, beautiful galaxy, 600 million light-years away, reminds us of the profound beauty of the unanswered question. It teaches us that the universe is under no obligation to make sense to us. The story of Hoag's object is a lesson in humility. It reminds us that no matter how advanced our technology becomes, no matter how powerful our simulations are, the cosmos will always hold secrets that are beyond our grasp. And that's not a failure. It's an invitation. It's an invitation to remain curious, to keep asking questions, and to find comfort and even joy in the act of wondering. Think about the paradoxes in your own life. The moments of perfect, unexpected order in the midst of chaos. The surprising coexistence of old habits and new passions. The empty spaces in our lives that define us just as much as the things that fill them. Perhaps, like Hoag's object, we are all complex systems of contradictions that don't have a single, simple explanation. And perhaps, the goal isn't to solve every riddle, but to learn to appreciate the elegance of the mystery itself. This incredible object encourages us to look up at the night sky and indeed at the world around us. Not just for what we know, but for what we don't. It is in the vast, beautiful darkness of our own ignorance that the true adventure of discovery begins. So, I leave you with this thought. What do you believe is the secret behind this cosmic masterpiece? Is it the ghost of a long-vanished collision, a perfectly preserved relic from the dawn of time, or something so strange we haven't even begun to imagine it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for joining me on this journey to the edge of our understanding. I hope it has filled you with a little bit of the wonder that makes our universe such an incredible place to be a part of. I wish you all good health, clear skies, and a life full of beautiful mysteries. And if you enjoyed this cosmic story, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more explorations into the great unknown. Until next time,